Yo, what's up everybody? Kevin Walsh from Ninja Holistic Health and Fitness. Welcome back to episode 2 now on graceful aging for baby boomers. So this is all on how to slow down the aging process. You know, what can we do to basically buffer the effects of accelerated aging and, you know, be a little more youthful and vital as we move along, going through your middle age and into your later years, you know, 60s, 70s, 80s, and beyond. So the first thing I'm going to go over here is mastering your breathing. The first of 4 tips. It's very, very important to make sure you're breathing through your nose and not through your mouth. Most people, because we're stressed typically through the day, breathe through the mouth. Mouth breathing is associated with stress and with responses that produce cortisol, stress hormones, and it's fight or flight linked. Whereas the nose is linked with calming. If you ever see people when they're meditating or doing yoga, things like that, typically you're going to see breathing through the nose, and this is because that's linked with the parasympathetic nervous system, and this regulates your digestion, it regulates all of your autonomic functions that basically are at a calm state. This acts as a seesaw as well, your sympathetic and parasympathetic. So if your sympathetic fight or flight response is constantly being elevated, constantly being activated, you're going to be stressed through the day, and what that does is it puts you in a state where you're constantly sort of using energy unconsciously throughout the day, and that's very bad obviously for the aging process, because if you're doing that all day, day in and day out, week after week, month after month, over the years, this is going to siphon a lot of energy unknowingly, and it also puts you in a more stressful state where you're going to be more emotional reactive than you might be otherwise, and wonder why that is. You will always find that when you're stressed, you're going to breathe more likely with a shallow breath and often through the mouth. And when you're at a very, very calm state, especially if you're like at the beach or somewhere where you're just chilling out, relaxed, you're going to be breathing through your nose. So nose breathe as much as possible, pretty much all day long, and even especially when you're exercising before you get to the point where you have to mouth breathe. So master your breathing, number 1. Number 2, eat a 90% unprocessed diet. So when it comes to eating, you got to be very careful with what you eat. You don't necessarily have to get all foods that are processed out of the body or out of the diet altogether, but you want to eat at least 90% unprocessed foods. So, whole foods like fruits, vegetables, legumes, meats that are grass-fed, pasture-raised, and things along those lines. Just basically real food. And, 10% along the lines of indulging or eating some processed box foods, as long as they're organic and non-GMO verified, so you're not getting pesticide damage on the body, that's perfectly fine. So you can indulge a little bit, enjoy yourself, but make sure the vast majority of your food is coming from real whole foods. The third is get to bed early. So you want to make sure you're getting to bed by 10:30 p.m., typically around the latest. This can kind of shift as the seasons move on. The sun is going to be going down at different times. But I was told this a long time ago by Paul Chek, and I've used it in my own daily life and can tell you it was a huge, huge game changer. If you're going to bed at midnight, or especially if you're going to bed later than that, you're definitely for sure going to be out of rhythms with your circadian rhythms, with the sun, the moon, the stars, the way everything kind of works in a cyclical fashion, day in and day out. We're not nocturnal creatures, so if you fight kind of against that and you're burning the candle at both ends or staying up late, and not getting enough sleep especially, you're going to end up, speeding up the aging process. So get to bed as early as you can, 9:30, 10, 10:30 at the latest. 11s, once you get into the 11s, you're really starting to go into the red a little bit. And the very last thing is move. So sitting equals gravestone. You do not want to sit more than you have to. We are supposed to move through the day. It's not natural for the body to be in a seated position. We have legs to get us from point A to point B. We have arms to help us, pick things up, move stuff. And, our core is designed to be constantly in a state of movement so that we're dynamically stabilized. So our body's designed to move constantly. The more we sit, the more the body deteriorates and just sort of turns into an atrophied version of what it was designed to be. So even if you're sitting at the desk, or you're at your desk rather, try to get up every 15 to 20 minutes and just move around. Just get up, stretch the arms a little bit, just move around, and then sit back down again so that you can kind of, make sure the body is being pumped with blood and pumped with lymph throughout the day. You don't have to necessarily do extreme exercise all day long or live on a farm where you're outside, but if you are in a cubicle, try to do little things like moving every 15-20 minutes, like I said, and do some of the dynamic stretches too that I showed in the other videos. And actually, I'll leave a link right up here somewhere right now so you can click on that, on those videos. Just little things you can do to move the body. You don't have to do anything extreme, but just basic movement. If you do that day in and day out, that is cumulative, and that will definitely help you with the aging process, so you can kind of minimize both the damage of what happens with time as we age, and keep the joints and the ligaments, the tendons, everything fresh, flowed with blood, so that they're not getting kind of stiff and to a point where they could be more easily injured. So with that said, those are 4 little quick tips for you, and you can implement that in your everyday routine to kind of keep yourself young, vital, looking good, feeling good for a long time. So thank you for watching. I'll catch you guys on episode 3 next week. We'll dive a little deeper, and with that said, have an awesome day, have an awesome week, and I will catch you on the next go around. Take care.